that were phenomenal. However, I do have to say things like Snape, and this isn't a spoiler. We've gotten from almost all the characters throwback scenes from their past,
their childhoods, and this is the one where we find Snape's childhood past.
Snape's, and not even just his childhood past, but his younger self.
Yeah.
An adult, but a younger adult. I feel like a big problem they had with this was they did not film Snape at a young enough age. I feel like these scenes could have easily been shot and put on the the back burner for a while. Snape, Sam disagrees with me, but I have to say from a professional opinion, Snape looked plastic.
I didn't see it. Maybe because I just don't have that kind of eye, but I really didn't see it. I felt like
I feel like if you watch it again, you're going to see it more. His face looks tight. It looks drawn.
The thing I focused on was really his wardrobe. His wardrobe gave him a much younger appearance than...
You could tell that he was much skinnier. They made him look much skinnier.
The wardrobe made him look much skinnier and much younger. And again, that's what I was focusing on. And maybe if I focused on the makeup more, maybe I could catch what she's saying. But I was focusing more on the wardrobe. It
wasn't even necessarily focusing on the makeup that bothered me so much. It wasn't that I was focusing on the makeup. I was focusing on his facial features, watching him act.
Because he's an astounding actor.
He is an astounding actor. And I feel like whoever did his makeup, you need to take a step back, take a look at him in the mirror again,
have him read a couple lines.
Can he read these lines and actually pull these expressions, these emotions through?
Yeah.
Because, and what made him look plastic is the fact that he couldn't do it well enough.
And again, this is where I disagree. There were some parts, especially one scene in particular, that he really delivered. I really felt like he delivered on those back... I feel like, in all honesty, I felt like his performance...
I feel like he delivered, but I feel like his facial expressions could have been so much better.
I'm sure...
Had it been not for the fact that I think he had appliances on his face and mini facelifts.
Again, I mean, again, and we could debate about this for hours and run up all of our time, but, again, so moving on to another topic.
I mean,
because we could go on for the hours on this one, but we're going to move on to a different topic, which is another thing we were also kind of drawn on, which is the, CG.
Yeah, you know what? I was a little disappointed with the CG in this film. Sam disagrees with me, but I feel like they could have done so much better. I'm not saying everything, so before everybody goes and yells at me, there were certain pieces of this film I thought could have been done so much better. There were so many green screens that were so obvious. Yeah. And Sam goes, well, it's a good green screen. If it's an obvious green screen, it's not a good green screen in my opinion.
And I do agree. I mean, like, I use green screen. I mean, you guys see the Geeky informant, and again, green screen's not easy. Everyone thinks like green screen, lights, boom.
I understand
easy, but it's not the easiest thing, and it's a misconception.
But I feel like this is Harry Potter.
Again, and
we could have upped the ante on this.
And the thing is, like, I'm not a fan of CG. I can't stand it. I feel
and
like
neither can I.
There's so many alternative ways to do what you want to do without CG.
Winnie the Pooh.
Again,
CG, and it was phenomenal.
Again, the Giants were not CG. They were guys in costumes using clever camera anglements to make Hellboy, thank you. Pam's Labyrinth, Guillermo del Toro, the master of practical effects in the modern age. There's so many things that show that you can do so much more outside of CG.
Yes.
So again, I'm not a fan of CG, but again, if you're gonna use CG, do it well. And I personally felt like they did it well for a majority of this film. There were certain parts, again, I felt were very cheap. There was this particular scene in the Room of Requirement where it's on fire.
Oh, it was awful.
That was actually quite painful. But everything else, like the wand effects, there was
I'm saying the wand effects have always been well done, I think. For the most part, at least the later films.
Minus Prisoner of Azkaban. But other than that, yes, I do agree. The wand effects have always been good. But this one, I felt like, again, a lot of the CG pieces that they did were good. Minus that one scene with the Room Requirement. Other than that, I felt all of them were, like, really up to par. I was very impressed with it. The dragon looked good. The wand effects looked good.
I thought the dragon looked phenomenal.
Yeah, Nakiri looked good. I mean,
Najiri,
yeah, she looked great. I mean, she was a CG throughout the entire film, but there were some shots.
I didn't think she looked good. I actually thought she was one of the worst parts of the CG.
Really?
Yeah, I know we didn't discuss this before the review, but I felt like there was quite a bit of her. I feel like she looked a lot better in 6 than she did in 8.
Well, I will say this. I personally feel like the CG from Part 1 looked 1,000 times better than this one.
Yes.
I felt Part 1 CG was probably easily the best CG that we've gotten in any
What I don't understand is they filmed this at the same time.
But post was done at different times.
I understand that, and I think that's the problem. And we had, I mean, I know we're on 11 minutes now, folks, but,
well, you guys, as you guys have probably figured this out, this isn't attached to the Geeking format, so we can run a little bit longer, I don't mind.
Yeah, that's something I can do. Another thing we had discussed is actually where they had cut off the first film, or the first part of the last film.
Yes, we were talking about this, like,
we felt like there was, in all honesty, there was really no, you weren't going, oh my god, what is going to happen next? It wasn't making you want to see what happened next right away. It was, okay, I can wait. Yeah. And then by the time we finally get it, it just doesn't work.
Because we're trying to remember what happened.
Exactly, because what happened last wasn't memorable enough.
Well, what we felt like we should have done, and this is, I know this may sound...
Yeah.
What they should have done, hell, they put me in the director's seat, this is what I would have done. I would have actually trimmed about 20 minutes of the whole camping scene from the first one out.
At least.
Because it was long. Really long. And then add that first 20 minutes of the second part that was addressed with Green Gots and everything else, and put it at the end of this one, at the first one. And then have, this confirmation that we have between Harry and Snape be the ending point for 1. And then when 2 starts, we actually get, I know how cliche this is going to sound, but a clip show. Showing briefly from, like, all 7 films.
These are my ideas, folks.
And I totally agree with her. And have it lead up directly to where this one leads off.
I feel like that would have been absolutely phenomenal. I feel like...
Especially with David...
been going, what's happening,
And I feel like David Yates, who's been working on these films since Half-Blood Prince, would do that very, very well. Because one of the first things he addresses as his style of directing for these films in Half-Blood Prince is his talent for incorporating all the previous films into one universe. Yes. He's been known to do that, especially in Order of the Phoenix.
A huge problem I had with this movie, and I have told Sam this, I'm actually giving it 2 completely separate reviews in my mind. As a movie, by itself, not connected with the rest of the Harry Potter universe, say it was just its own movie, obviously we have to ignore the story because the story is connected.
Right.